Well, let's bring on our next guest, the sheriff of Eddy County, Mr. Mark Cage. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Gene.
Hey, you guys have been kind of busy the last couple of days, or I guess you've kind of been been busy for quite a while now.
Yes, I think it's an ongoing process, right?
That's right. That's right. So, what's the latest? I know we've seen a lot of cars all over the area. Is there anything you can share with us about all the activity that folks have been commenting on around the area the last few days?
Well, this is a joint operation that we've been conducting with the U.S. Marshal Service. The New Mexico U.S. Marshal Sonia Chavez is a very good friend of mine, and we both serve on the HIDA executive board together. She's the chair and I'm vice chair, and it's just an operation we've been talking about for a while, and we're getting some of the bad people off the streets.
Well, good. I'm glad that that is going on, which kind of leads to another question. And the immigration issue, the southern border has been such an issue, especially since the current. How can I say this politely? The current occupant is in the White House. How is all of this impacting Eddy County? What have you seen through your department as far as the migration of people that are just flooding across our southern border and coming into the United States?
The individuals aren't a huge problem for us because we're not a destination. The human trafficking piece, all of that, we don't see that much of it. What we do see is the impact of the illegal narcotics, the drugs. Just the other day, I can tell you this, we picked up a little over 5 pounds of fentanyl pills, which equates to about almost 2,400 pills, or excuse me, 24,000 pills.
Wow.
That's 24,000 pills. And about 3.5 ounces of fentanyl powder, which that's the stuff that you get a little bit of it kills you dead right there, and about 2 pounds of meth. This was all in one stop, one deal. And I'm telling you, when you start thinking about that, those pills, we're talking almost 24,000 fentanyl pills, and you're talking every 2 out of 5 of those fentanyl pills contain a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl. Think about how many people could die from that. It's staggering, really. And this is one load. One load. How many more loads? We're taking them off on a regular basis, and it's just the flow is. It's just, again, I use the word staggering because it is. It's unbelievable how much is coming across. So, and I'm telling you, too, a lot of people, that's conspiracy theory stuff. The fentanyl precursors, the components to make the fentanyl, they are coming from China. China is providing them to the Mexican drug cartels, who process them into the pills and send them across our border. So you don't think that this is terrorist activity? This is China trying to undermine our society here it's an attack is what it is.
It is, and it should be treated as such. We've seen it, from the Russian standpoint with the hacking of computer systems and so forth, and now we're finding out that the Russians have been behind some disinformation about fracking in the oil industry to get people in this country against that. I don't think people are truly aware of just how much pressure we are under in this country, attempted influence to basically ruin this country so that countries like China and Russia can take a more dominant role around the world.
Well, we're weakened, and we're in a weak state now. Everybody knows it. The entire world knows it. People can say what they want about President Donald Trump, and everyone has their faults, and he had his faults as well. But none of this happened under him.
Right.
None of this. None of this. And I mean, that's a fact that I guess some of these folks don't want to look at and don't want to admit that we are viewed as a weak nation now. For the first time in history, we're viewed as a weak nation. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of frightening.
It's probably the first time we've been viewed as a weak nation since the last time the British tried to take us back. Because they would have thought that we were weak then, which is why they tried to take it back. And, of course, that didn't happen. So,
good point.
But, yes, it's a long time that we've been in this position. This fentanyl that's flowing across the border, is some of this destined for Eddy County? Are you seeing it winding up on the streets here in Eddy County?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, just look, how many overdoses we have here, and on a regular basis, we have fentanyl overdoses. We have deaths. There's plenty of it here, and I mean, it's not just passing through. We are a destination for illegal drugs and narcotics, and I tell you what, without our drug task force and their efforts, and our federal partners helping us out with the DEA, the marshals, the FBI, all those folks, we'd be in dire straits right now. We really would. We'd be overrun.
Mm-hmm. That's a scary thought to think about. Speaking of drugs, April 1st became the day that recreational marijuana was allowed in the state of New Mexico. You've talked about this on the show before. How has this worked its way through to what law enforcement can and cannot do with regards to marijuana now?
Oh, it's kind of like yesterday's news, I guess. It's kind of hands off, honestly, because there's so many ambiguities, and frankly, there's a lot more for us to focus on. I'll tell you this right now, and whether it's good or bad, recreational marijuana, I don't even debate that anymore,
right?
Or even talk about it hardly. But I'll tell you what, the misinformation that did go out, though, is that having recreational marijuana as legal is going to stop the black market. That is not accurate in any way, shape, or form. We're still going to have the illegal marijuana. It just makes it to where we can't tell the difference hardly between legal and illegal. Mm-hmm. Because all someone has to do is put the illegal stuff, the black market, in a container that looks like the legal stuff, and
right.
I mean, and we're not going to spend the time, I mean, to try and investigate this and go through all this for a petty misdemeanor, maybe misdemeanor charge. It's just not going to happen. So if folks think that's, I mean, okay, if it adds tax revenue, great, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is, and there's going to be some folks get very wealthy off of it, I can tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. Some of the stories that have come out in the Albuquerque media have talked about how much the sales have been. Of course, I don't think people are doing the math. If I'm doing the math correctly, I guess I have to double check. If the state tells us that there's been 5.2 million in recreational marijuana sales in the first 3-4 days since it was legal, I don't think that they are saying that that's the tax part of it. I think they're saying that's the total sales, which means the tax part of it is, $600,000, which is not, it's money, but I don't know that it's ever going to replace some of the other forms of economic activity that we should be promoting in the state of Mexico.
No, it's not going to even come close. And you know what? I think it's just a matter of time before it's legal federally. Nationally, and that's fine. I mean, maybe we're ahead of the curve on one thing here in New Mexico, I guess. But you want to talk about moving to a different subject. Mm-hmm. And you spoke about it a minute ago with oil and gas. I'm looking at this special session that our legislature had, where they're gonna hand out money to us now. What I think it's $500 a person. But
that's what I heard. Yes.
To help offset the increasing price of gas. Are you kidding me? Is this is the most ridiculous scenario I've ever heard in my life. We don't like oil and gas. It's bad. It's horrible. The Permian Basin, the most oil and gas rich area basically in the world. Let's shut this down in New Mexico. We don't like it. We don't want it. But now we've got all this surplus money from this evil thing, oil and gas, and we're gonna hand out money to the folks because of it. This is lunacy.
Well,
and they come up with this.
Sure, and I don't, and they're never, the people on the Democrat side predominantly are never going to tell people that are receiving these dollars that this is because of the windfall that we receive because of the oil and gas industry. They're going to say it came from the governor and the Democrat legislature. They're responsible for doling out this money, and that's the sad thing about the whole ordeal. I was lucky yesterday, Sheriff. I went and filled up. I have a diesel truck, and it was $99.49. I missed the $100 fill-up by 51 cents. I guess I should have driven around a little longer before I filled up so I could get my $100 fill-up. But
I got rid of my diesel truck. I don't need one. I don't tow. I just had a really nice 3/4 ton diesel that I didn't need for anything. I just enjoyed it. I liked it. But I said, you know what? The heck with this, $5 a gallon. No. So I traded it off, and I've got a regular pickup now that doesn't suck diesel. I don't know if it gets better. I think it gets worse mileage, but I guess it costs less to fill it up.
That's true. How has the fuel cost situation impacted just the operations at the sheriff's department? Has it impacted at all the amount of time that your deputies are able to be out on the road? No, and I won't do that unless it has to get really bad before, because that's been spoken of, and I've been at agencies where you had your mileage was limited, where because of the cost of gas fuel, but I won't do that. We have a huge county to cover, and folks need us out there, and shoot, we can't get to everything as it is. So if I start limiting how far deputies can drive, I'll take away from other areas of my budget to augment my fuel line item if I have to, because I just can't see it. I can't have my deputies where they go, well, I'm gonna have to, I can't go over here because it's too far to go. So no, that does not impact us as far as whether we're going to be out there or not. But the cost, yes, we're in the middle of the budget process right now. We've had to add in our fuel line item to compensate for that. Yeah, because it's impacting anybody that has vehicles out on the road, whether it's the schools and the bus expense and law enforcement, and then private industry as well. You mentioned the oil and gas industry. What kind of activity? I know it looks like it's kind of busy in some parts of Eddy County. I'm sure the criminal activity is kind of busy in some of the parts of the county too. Oh yeah. Right now, southern Eddy County is the hot spot for oil and gas activity, and the northern part is kind of just status quo as it has been, but things have really picked up down south, and you can see it. You drive through Carlsbad now, and you can see the difference again. And I remember when John Henry first got elected onto the Board of County Commissioners, and he would always talk about how he hated to come to commission meetings because he had to drive all the way through Carlsbad to get to the commission chambers. Mm-hmm. And
because of the traffic, and it lightened up, and now it's getting heavy again. And but here's the most amazing thing ever is we're about to have a bypass finished around Carlsbad, which is I never thought I would see it happen. And we're getting the loop done. We've got the East Loop is completed, which wasn't it was a big undertaking, but it wasn't quite as big as the West Loop. The West Loop is being made almost all from scratch. The East Loop kind of tied in with the George Shoup relief route. But man, that's going to make a huge difference because you've got these gigantic, and it's kind of to me it's ironic. It's a real slap in the face to drag those wind generator blades through the middle of downtown Carlsbad.
Yeah,
nobody.
That's
but they're dangerous too.
I know.
It's dangerous to have that coming through the middle of a population like that.
Yeah. No question about it. Then you get a big old gust of wind. Do they go flying off the truck?
Oh my gosh, yes. And you look at Artesia, and Artesia, the highway doesn't go right through the middle of town. It's situated on the right on the edge, so you don't get that major disruption of the traffic flow and the danger to the public. So it's set up a little better in Artesia, whereas in Carlsbad, no, it just goes right through the middle of town.
Yeah. So on the east side, and I've been down there for a while on the loop. So if you take, like, if you're coming from Artesia and you hit the bypass that goes to the east around Carlsbad, are you saying that that's just about done where it goes all the way south to south of Carlsbad?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It goes all the way out and hooks up with some existing state highways. Now the big thing is on that area is out by Loving, is to that Highway 31, New Mexico 285 interchange. That's got to have something done to it. I don't know what we're going to get done there, but something has to give. That intersection is horrible. There's train tracks. There's a major highway. There's a state road. It's ugly, and there's a lot of traffic.
Wow,
But now the West Loop, though, when you're coming south on 285, you bypass off on the Happy Valley bypass right before you get into Carlsbad, and it'll go around, and right there by Happy Valley, it's going to cut off, and they're working on that right now. And it's, for me and for the sheriff's office, it's going to be wonderful, because if I'm at my my office at headquarters south of Carlsbad, it can take me anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes sometimes to get to Artesia.
Right.
And it's a nightmare for me. This, I've timed it the other day, just using the little part of it that's fixed already, that's finished by my office. So part of it comes out by my office. It took me less than 30 minutes to get to Artesia.
Wow.
From my office. I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah. Well, and that all has to do with response times and when a call comes in, and how quickly you can get your deputies to a situation, whether it's an accident or some other call that you have to respond to.
Yes.
So, and get safely, because when you guys get rolling,
right,
people don't always hear the sirens or even see the lights. They're kind of not paying attention, or they're on the phone.
That's the big problem. Distracted driving. That's
a huge deal. So what? I don't want to give away any secrets or anything, but what are people doing to kind of protect their property out in the oil patch now? Is it more patrols? Are we seeing cameras? Are there just and what are the thieves looking for? I'm assuming they're still looking for copper and things like that.
Oh yes. The good thing is, well, patrols. We're doing the best we can because we have to be on the highways too. And I keep getting complaints, about driving. Hey, can you guys get out? Well, it's like whack-a-mole. That's how I describe it. That's how I've always described it. We go and we hit one area, and the problems appear in another area. So we go there, and then they pop up somewhere else, and we're chasing our tail a lot of the time with traffic issues. Patrols, we have almost 5,000 square miles, for this county, and it's going to be very difficult to be everywhere at once. Well, you can't be. Technology is helping out with that. With surveillance, we solve a lot of crimes because of folks' surveillance video, and we have our own, like trail cams and stuff that we'll go out and we'll put up, and I don't know. We've done some operations, where we put stuff out, bait trailers, we put out equipment as bait, and if folks come in and grab it, we can track it and nab them. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of we're depending upon the citizens to help us. I mean, that's all. They're a force multiplier. The citizens are, because again, we just can't be everywhere at once.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right. No, it's a bad problem. We discovered here recently that somebody had got up on one of our towers, and they were attempting to take the transmission line for one of our stations.
Oh my gosh.
And it's one of those things is I wish I could figure out a way to flip a switch based on some kind of a motion sensor and send, 10,000 volts at 3 amps, and just end it. But I would probably be sued out of existence if we did something like that. And that's something else that you have to worry about, too, is that even though somebody is allegedly committing a criminal act, the response from the citizen or even from the law enforcement can bring about some legal action in response to what you're doing.
Right. That's always the problem. We're going to make mistakes, and that's just how it is. I've got a lot of deputies out there, and they're trying to do the right thing, and they're gonna have their times where they don't do the right thing, and unfortunately, that's going to impact the citizen, and we're going to get sued for that. And rightfully so. When we do something wrong, we do need to be held accountable. But the problem comes in when these, like you're talking about, frivolous lawsuits where it's like, oh well, we just don't like what you did. And of course, New Mexico's made that a lot easier with the with our so-called New Mexico Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
Where, you can just basically sue for anything, whether you have a reason or not. So I don't know. We're waiting to see how that impacts us.
Sure.
It's still in the works, and of course, our buddy Brian Egoff is exiting the legislature now that he's done as much damage as he possibly can.
Well, he has set it up now so that as a private citizen lawyer, he can start taking advantage of the situation and scenarios that he's created when he was the Speaker of the House with these.
Yeah, and he's a trial lawyer. That's what he does. He makes his money off of suing public entities. So.
Yeah. No. He's a shrewd individual. That don't like it the way that he's doing it, but that it's kind of silly. One of the other areas that the Sheriff's Department is responsible for is, I think, in some degree, is some of the law enforcement around Brantley Lake that's not on the park property. We're getting ready to go into summertime. The temperatures are warming up. Is there any water in Brantley Lake? And are you starting to see some activity from folks going out there trying to enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of water in there. And the canals are flowing right now. And I'm sure our farmers are very happy about that. They're getting some water. And it'll drop. But, oh, yeah, there's activity already out there. And tragically, sadly, every year we have somebody drown out there. And I just can't caution folks enough you know, if you're going to indulge in adult beverages, be careful out on the water. I mean, and even if you're not, just be careful out on the water. But a lot of times we have tragedy and that occurs due to impairment of one sort, form, or another. And Brantley's a small lake, but goodness gracious, like I said, we always lose at least one person a year out there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see this year be different. That's what I would like to see.
No, that would be awesome. Now that's state park, right? Brantley Lake State Park. So you have to work with the state park rangers, and hopefully that very cooperative and they're good to work with. I don't think
it is. It's a we work well with them, and we've shoot, I even Mike Phipps asked me to help out one time, and we coordinated to keep that gate open on the off of 285, so that folks from Artesia wouldn't have to go all the way around to get to the main entrance. And they were cooperative with that. It took a little while and took a little pushing, and the ranger out there, they always work well with my deputies. There's never any animosity. They appreciate our help, and I guess it's time for us to get our boat back out, go cruise around on the lake a little bit, and try and make our presence known. And we thank San Juan County again for donating their boat to us.
Yeah,
that was pretty nice of Sheriff Shane Ferrari up there.
Yeah. Well, whatever you do, don't hand out masks while you're out there meeting with the folks. You want to have a positive experience. So.
No, we don't do that.
Speaking of support from other agencies in the private sector, oil companies that are located in Eddy County have been very helpful to a lot of different entities in Eddy County, but Eddy County Sheriff's Department, you've received some very nice donations from some of the oil companies and other businesses in Eddy County. Yes.
Our industry partners, they're always looking for ways to help us out. And they're just so generous. We went over to ConocoPhillips just the other day, and it was amazing. And they handed out checks to everybody, and it was Lee and Eddy County. And there was just so much to the fire departments, to the sheriff's offices, to emergency management, to the schools, to the community colleges, which, of course, I'm definitely partial to Southeast New Mexico College, because I'm on the board of trustees now. We received a grant award from them, but at the sheriff's office, we specifically received $25,100, an interesting number, and to help us with one of our programs, and it's just amazing. And it's every year. Different companies just come out of the woodwork and like, what do you need? What do you want? What can we do to help you do your job better? And it's greatly appreciated. It really is. I had some folks comment and say, oh, well, how come the sheriff's office is getting this and not everybody else? Everybody's getting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally, the United Way got a huge check. I mean, they're not just going, oh, we just like the sheriff, and we're going to give them some money. This is going to everybody, all the service organizations in the county, and it's greatly appreciated.
Oh, it's a huge help, especially with the last 2 years with the COVID shutdowns. That's really impacted agencies that rely on donations to keep doing their programs. It's a huge help for all of that. So that they're very good community partners, and it's good to hear. You guys are doing some recruiting right now, looking for more deputies. Who are you recruiting, or what type of positions do you have open at the Eddy County Sheriff's Department?
We have certified and uncertified deputy positions open, and we got to looking at some of the the recruiting being done around the state, and we realized some of these look really, really good. It's like, wow, look how much they're paying, look how much they're offering, and we started comparing. And my Sergeant Gracie Gonzalez is my training and recruiting coordinator, and she and I and Captain Moore got to talking about this, and we said, you know what, we're doing better than a lot of these people, but we're not emphasizing how good some of these things are that we offer. So we actually came out with I had Gracie came up with a recruiting poster, and it shows the dollar and cents of what is available here at the sheriff's office. And then I just went before the commission and obtained their approval we're going to offer a little nest egg if we get lateral officers from, because I mean there's folks from Albuquerque, there's folks all over the state that might be looking to change, and if it's a veteran officer, they can come over with a little nest egg of sick time and vacation time instead of having to wait to accrue it, because that can sometimes make people slow down on, well, I do want to make a change. I want to go somewhere, maybe I want to go work for Eddy County. However, I've got a vacation planned this summer, and my kids are counting on that, and if I go there, I won't have any way to go on that vacation.
Mm-hmm.
This way, we can allow people to, veteran officers. And, the interesting part about this is people say, oh, well, you're just giving stuff to them. Well, no, this is saving us money. If I can get someone who's already certified and trained, I don't have to send them to the law enforcement academy for 10 weeks. No, not 10 weeks. It's longer than that now. It's 16 weeks. Might be longer than that. It's almost 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs $3,500 just for the academy, much less their salary while they're in there, the equipment, everything else. So this is a huge savings, and I'm hoping it's going to reap some rewards for us and get us some veteran officers applying for the deputy positions.
Well, I would hope so, because you've said this before, and we've talked about this before. Eddy County, Artesia, Carlsbad, law enforcement friendly areas of New Mexico compared to other parts of New Mexico and other parts of the country, and that's got to be another recruitment positive.
It is, and the good thing is right now, housing is it's always a challenge in Eddy County, be it Carlsbad, Artesia. It's difficult. And it's expensive. But right now it's not as bad as it has been in the past. We have some, there's several apartment complexes being built in the Carlsbad area. Artesia is kind of a little limited with the apartment situation, but there's a lot of houses being built.
Mm-hmm.
And there's potential for more to be built in Artesia.
Yep.
There's houses being built in Carlsbad. And, yeah, the prices are up there a little bit, but I think that our salary range is, folks are going to be able to buy a home if they want to, if their credit's good, and which hopefully it is. We try not to hire anybody that doesn't have good credit.
You don't want to serve papers on yourself.
Yeah. No. But that is, and the way that we're treated here, law enforcement wise, is amazing. And we're actually pushing that with some of these areas, the bigger populations that where the folks aren't treated so good.
Mm-hmm.
If folks want to come from Albuquerque, they're welcome to come here, and we'll welcome them in here and treat them good and pay them good.
Yeah, they get waved at by more than one finger. So it's
yes, yes. And I tell you what, the crazy thing is, it is difficult to go anywhere to eat and be able to actually pay for your lunch. Because someone is always buying my lunch for me, or my deputies tell me that all the time. They're like, hey, I went to pay my bill, and they said it was covered, and folks don't even want you to know who did it.
Exactly.
Out of the kindness of their heart.
Exactly. Nope, that's a good thing. Sheriff, was there anything else that you wanted to bring up or cover or talk about on our segment today?
Well, the weather's getting better, thankfully. We didn't really have a bad winter, but it's really nice, and I just encourage folks to be safe in what you're doing. Summer's coming, and there's a lot of great things to do here in Eddy County. I just would ask that folks be careful, pay attention to what you're doing, and if you're going to drive, don't drink, and don't be distracted while you're driving. Please.
Yes, that's a hard thing to do. Even with the hands-free, you're still having a conversation with somebody and not necessarily paying 100% attention to what's going on the road. So,
exactly. So watch out for everybody else out there. Drive defensively, and let's enjoy the good weather.
Very good. Sheriff Mark Cage, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed visiting with you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Mark Cage with us on the radio. We're going to take a break. See